Week 13 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to drop this week. The first guy, Tarik Skubal, the Detroit Tigers. So Skubal, the first few weeks of the season, he got off to a great start, but now he's fizzled out, and he's been pretty much unownable in fantasy leagues. This Skubal on the season here, 88 and 2/3, 5-7 record, 82 hits, 40 earned runs, 24 walks, 90 strikeouts, 7 quality starts, 4.06 ERA, a 1.20 whip. But the last couple weeks here, that ERA's ballooned all the way up to a 9 with a 1.79 whip. So right here, Skubal, one of the top prospects over the last few seasons to come up through this Detroit Tiger farm system. But he just hasn't gotten the job done, and I know he plays in a pretty weak division where really only the Minnesota Twins and the White Sox is the decent teams here. And now his next outing will be July 8th at the White Sox, but he hasn't got the job done the last few outings. June 22nd at Boston, 4 2/3, got the loss, 6 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, 5 Ks. June 28th at the Giants, 4 2/3, got the loss, 4 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, 5 Ks. And then July 3rd versus the Kansas City Royals, 4 2/3, got the loss, 5 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, a K. So right here, he hadn't gotten anything going in school, but the last time he's had a quality start was a month ago in June 7th. And he hasn't versed really great hitting teams over the last few weeks here, and he's still not going deep into games. The furthest he's gone into a game was June 7th as well versus the Pirates 7 innings. Ever since then, the last 4 outings have been 5 innings or less for Skubal. So right now, he's not getting the job done. The only plus for him is he's a lefty and he plays in a weak division. But right now, in 10 and 12 team leagues, I would drop him because he's going out there and he's getting hit hard and he's not doing anything for fantasy owners but hurting their stats in pretty much every category. The next guy is Mike Lorenzo, Los Angeles Angels. So Lorenzo, I had big hopes for him, and early in the season, he was off to a charging start, but this Angel team just fizzled out altogether now. After they got off to a great start the first month and a half of the season, on the season for Lorenzo, 71 innings, 6-6 record, 66 hits, 39 earned runs, 30 walks, 55 strikeouts, 7 quality starts, 4.94 ERA, 1.35 whip. In the last couple weeks, he is at a 13.5 ERA and a 3 whip. So right here, he's been getting hit hard as Lorenzo. And it hasn't even been versus tough teams, really, except that one matchup versus the Houston Astros. So June 24th versus Seattle, 3 innings, got the loss in that one. 4 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 5 Ks. And July 1st to Houston, he got ripped up, 3 innings, got the loss. 8 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. So right here, Lorenzo, he definitely has electric stuff. He's definitely been a decent starter since he's been back to going pitching after hitting. But now this season, it's falling apart for him, just like it has for the Los Angeles Angels. And right now, he's only owned in 25% of fantasy leagues. But he's a pitcher I would drop this week. His next outing looks good at paper at the Baltimore Orioles. But this Oriole team could hit a little bit of decency. And now I would need to see Lorenzo put a string of 3 or 4 starts together before I could trust him and pick him back up. And right now, I think he's an easy guy to drop this week. He just doesn't go deep into games. And he's been giving up a lot of runs over the last 3 or 4 starts. The next guy, A.J. Minter of the Atlanta Braves. So a lot of people rushed out to the waiver wire once Kenley Jansen went down, and they got A.J. Minter. And in the first save opportunity for the Braves since Jansen went on the injured list, Minter got the save. But ever since then, it's been the Will Smith show here at the closer role. So Minter, he's owned in 54% of fantasy leagues, and he's a guy I easily would drop here this week. On the season for Minter, though, good numbers, 34 innings, 4-2 record, 23 hits, 6 earned runs, 6 walks, 45 Ks, 2 blown saves, a 1.59 ERA, and an 0.85 whip with a 3.60 ERA and a 1.40 whip in the last couple weeks here for Minter. So Jansen, supposedly, he's only going to be out a few weeks here, and he'll come back, obviously, to the closer role for this Brave team. But Minter, if he's not going to get saves, he's not going to really have value. And the last couple outings here for him, they've been mediocre. June 28th to Philly, in that one, he pitched an inning, got the save, and a K. And then July 2nd in Cincinnati, he only won an inning in the 7th inning it was, though, with a strikeout. And then July 3rd at Cincinnati, he got the loss in that one. He didn't record an out, 2 hits and a walk. So right now, Will Smith's been the close. He got the save yesterday, and there's no reason to hold on to Minter. He's only going to go in there 7th, 8th inning and get an inning under his belt. And there's no reason for him to be owned in 54% of fantasy leagues. The next guy, Ranger Suarez of the Philadelphia Phillies. So Suarez, it's been an up and down season here for him. And now with the injury, I think he's definitely an easy guy to drop with a back injury. And who knows how long he'll be out. Supposedly not going to be long with back spasms. Especially on that lower back, though. It's very tough for a pitcher to deal with those type of injuries. On the season for Suarez, 79 innings, 6-5 record, 82 hits, 38 earned runs, 33 walks, 64 strikeouts, and 5 quality starts on the season. So Suarez, he's been on a Philly team that's been playing pretty good baseball over the last month of the season here. But he's just a guy that hasn't kicked it into gear, really, besides one outing in the last month at San Diego, June 23rd. At the Padres, 7 1/3 got the win. 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a quality start. And June 29th versus the Braves before he went down, 6 2/3 got the loss. 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks in that one. So Suarez, we'll see when he comes back. But like I mentioned, that ERA on the season's a 4.33, which isn't good, and a 1.46. And he's in a tough division where the Mets already have 50 wins, and the Atlanta Braves have been the hottest team in baseball as well over the last month, winning 23 out of 30 ball games. So right now, with the injury and the inconsistent numbers here for Suarez, he's a pitcher I would drop this week. No doubt about it, he could come back and turn things around. But right now, I would drop him, and he still is on, though, in 47% of fantasy leagues. And the fifth and final pitcher I'd look to drop this week's Hunter Green of the Cincinnati Reds. So right here, coming into the season, Green had a lot of hype, and rightfully so, with the electric stuff and the hard fastball that he could throw over 102 miles per hour is Green. But he's been batting practice this year, and like they say, the faster it comes in, the faster it goes out. So on the season here for Green, 79 innings, 3-10 record, a complete game shutout under his belt, 74 hits, 53 earned runs, 33 walks, 98 strikeouts, which is a great number in 79 1/3. 3 quality starts, but the ERA is a 6.01 with a 1.35 whip. And over the last couple weeks here, that ERA is a 9.42 with a 1.60 whip. So right here, he's walking the ballpark, and he's getting hit hard here is Hunter Green. So right now, this season, he's not going to be a factor in fantasy, which I thought he would be in the second half. But it's just been bad start after bad start for Hunter Green, especially the last 3 outings. He turned things around a little bit the end of May to early June, but ever since then now, he's versus some decent hitting teams, and he can't get the job done. And the Reds are the worst team in the National League as well. The last few games for Green, June 23rd versus the Dodgers, 5 innings, got the loss, 9 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. June 29th at the Cubs, 4 innings, got the loss, 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. And July 4th versus the Mets yesterday, 5 1/3 got the loss, 7 hits, 6 runs, a walk, 5 Ks. So right here, easy target to drop. Still owned in 40% of fantasy leagues. He's on a bad team. He's not going to get many wins, and he just don't go deep into games with only 3 quality starts on the whole season. So Green, maybe in keeper leagues you want to keep him, but redraft leagues, there's no reason to keep Hunter Green because he's getting hit hard this season, and his team's obviously not going to get him many runs or win ball games for him. And I would drop him this week. So that's a few pitches I would drop here for Week 13 of the fantasy baseball season.